I'd love to start with a short grounding practice.
Okay. Yeah,
How's that
sure.
sound? Sweet. Cool. So we'll just start off. Whoever's watching, whether you're on this live or watching the recording, I'll just invite you to find a comfortable seated position, whether that's cross-legged or you're seated in a chair, and direct your awareness down to your sit bones, to your buttocks. Make sure they're level, so just balance them out as you need to. And then from your tailbone, from your coccyx, just begin to stack your spine, vertebra on top of vertebra, really lengthening that spine. Allow your shoulders to sit down and move back behind you. Got a bit of wind here. Got a bit of wind here. And just imagine there's a string pulling from the crown of your head upwards. Lengthen that spine all the way up. And then point your awareness to your nose tip. Begin to feel the breath flowing. Cool air enters. And slightly warmer air leaves. Just witness that breath. Be present with that breath. Feel that breath. Notice where it's going, whether it's going into your chest or your belly. Notice any sense or tension. Release it just a little bit more. Relax your face muscles, your neck muscles, your jaw. Just witness that breath. We're going to do a few breaths. And this is an inhale through the nose and an exhale with an audible sigh out of the mouth. So I'm going to invite you to bring your left hand onto your chest, place your right hand onto your belly. We're going to inhale through the nose when I cue you and exhale with that audible sigh out of your mouth. Let's start off with an exhale together all the way out, all the way to the bottom. Inhale through the nose and sigh it out. And in. All the way out. All the way up. Just 3 more. Really lose yourself in that breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. 2 more. Last one. Beautiful. And if it feels comfortable, keep your eyes closed. If you prefer to have your eyes open, fix them on a spot in front of you. And just take a moment to feel any changes in sensation within your body. Notice any sensations that are there, thoughts that came up that you're now more aware of. What we did in that short practice is we connected with our life force, the prana within our body. And that's just a small taste of what you'll get with Ananda. So yeah, look forward to being part of this community. And I just wanted to also send some huge thanks out to Cam and your team at Awakenpedia. Extend some gratitude to you for the amazing community that you've created, and I'm really grateful to be part of it. I just thought that would be a nice way to start to ground ourselves.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for suggesting that and gently leading us through it. It's funny. I tend to do that with all of my client sessions, and whenever I go into anything on my own. And funny, I don't know why I haven't really been doing that as much with these partner interviews and introductions, but it's a really nice thing to do. And, you know, you feel so much more centered and balanced just by focusing on the breath and bringing your attention, you know, to where you are, the here and now. Even if it's just for a few seconds, it makes a massive difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, awesome to have you here, man. And I'm super excited for this partnership, for the future together, and helping you to further expand your practice, your presence, your offerings to the world. We share the same mission, which is to wake up and to help everybody else to wake up,
Mm.
uh, with the simple aim and intent of helping people to escape the insanity of their minds to enter the sanity of their hearts, right? To transmute fear into love so that we can be and love and laugh and just live from a lighter dimension. So, really, really excited that you're part of the family, and you know, excited to have you share your story with us because you know, you and I have a parallel background in terms of our exodus from the corporate world and stepping in full force into the light and leaning into our shadows and just leaning into the healing journey. So I think that would be a great place to start, Ananda, if you'd be willing to give us the overview of how you got to where you are now, right? You didn't always have this beard. I know that. You used to be dressing in suits and wearing and working in commercial real estate and whatnot. So can you tell us a bit about your journey and how it's led you to where you are?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, bro. I just want to say how poetic you speak. It's always lovely to hear you speak and express yourself the way you do. Because yeah, it's really inspiring actually to listen to the way you communicate and the way you just deliver as a conduit your lived experience and sort of your vision as well. I came off our call, the partners call that we did in private on Zoom, um, inspired by the synchronicity that I felt in terms of your journey and my journey, our visions, and the way these two communities can marry together. And 1+1 = 3 in these scenarios, I believe. So I just I'm really excited to see how that unfolds together. So in terms of my journey, as you said, it's quite parallel to yours in the sense that I lived a very different life before Ananda found me and I started on this path. So, I mean, going back, um, going back to my previous life in commercial real estate, I spent 8 years in commercial real estate. I lived that life of material possessions, of that sort of material abundance in terms of having all the things that we are so I suppose programmed to believe we need. And I'm grateful for all of that. I'm grateful for all the experiences, all the people that I met, what it unlocked in terms of my ability to travel around the world, to as I said, experience places and things and those material possessions. It gave me a step on the property ladder to own a home and to achieve those things from a material perspective. But what I found on that journey, having invested basically 12 years of my life with university study, with postgraduate study, and then 8 years in the industry selling commercial real estate, was those boxes that I thought I needed to tick from a material perspective weren't fulfilling on a soul level, on a spiritual level. And it wasn't until I found the breath and discovered both breath work and pranayama. My focus and my passion is pranayama, but also breathwork. It's the Wim Hof method to start off with, like a lot of people do. It really just unlocked something much deeper within me. That hole, that gaping hole, that void that I was looking to fill with other means, drugs, sex, alcohol, cigarettes, all these things, basically to numb the fact that I knew I wasn't living my own purpose. I was actually living someone else's version of success. And so what the breath taught me was that deeper level of purpose. I knew I was a healer. I had this healing energy within me. It was manifesting in not always the most healthy ways. And what this new journey, or this new diversion on my path, this quest of bliss, as we call it with Ananda, has given me is that deeper purpose, as I said, fulfillment in what I do every day. Every day I'm filling my cup up so I can serve the world from a more grounded place, from a more blissful place. And anyone who does yoga may be familiar with the term sankalpa, which is a resolve, basically your deepest, most universal truth in terms of a purpose. And that for me is simply to spread bliss. And that's what Ananda is. Ananda is a Sanskrit word which translates as our highest form of being, our bliss. And so that's what this journey is about. And as you said, it runs in parallel with Awakenpedia. I love the community you're creating. I love your journey, the way you've transformed in yourself. And I look forward to meeting all of our other spiritual friends on this journey as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing and giving us that context. Certainly your path, our path, unplugging from the matrix and really just giving ourselves permission to surrender into the unknown, to be true pioneers of truth, and to lean into this journey. It's something that you inspire me too in that way, and you walk the talk, you practice what you preach, you lead by example, right? And that's and doing so from a very traditional material background, it just further validates the legitimacy of the healing journey, the awakening journey, rising out of form to realize yourself as the formless essence that you are. It's really beautiful and inspiring, and we need more people like you to rise up to be providers, right? And that's why I am so excited for this partnership, and for you to share the power of the breath with us, specifically in the context of pranayama, which I'd love for you to, if you're willing, to share a bit more about what that specific breathwork modality is and how it kind of, from your perspective, varies from other breathwork traditions.
100%. Yeah, and I think that's a really important point. There are so many different breathwork modalities, and they've evolved over the years. Most early forms of breathwork are things like pranayama, Sufi breathing, shamanic breathing. There's so many ancient practices which incorporate the breath. Qigong as well, from Chinese medicine. And these have been around for thousands of years of recorded history, up to 5, maybe even 10,000 years of recorded history. So you can imagine how long they may have been around. And what they contain is universal truths. And over the years, they've evolved and reformed, been relabeled, repackaged, repurposed in many different ways. And what we see in the contemporary language, breathwork as such is often to do with a therapeutic modality in relation to either releasing trauma or influencing and controlling our internal world in terms of our nervous system, altered states of consciousness or manifestation, and things like that. Where pranayama diverts from that, I suppose you could say, is there's a sequence of many different breathing techniques within pranayama for different purposes, to access different states and influence our prana, our life force energy, in different ways. Many people see yoga as just the asana, just the physical poses that we contort and place our body in for physical benefits. But in reality, there's 8 limbs in yoga, and one of those limbs is pranayama. So we actually prepare our body with those physical poses, prepare our body to sit in a meditative posture for extended periods of time. And this creates that openness on a physical level for us to dive a little bit deeper into that subtle body. So we call that physical experience of the world around us our gross body, our gross energy, and the subtle body is as you can imagine, the more subtle elements of the energy, the prana within us. And we have to prepare our bodies physically before we can dive deeper and really experience the full benefits of that deeper level of ourselves. So pranayama, or pranayama, as some people pronounce it, each is fine. There's just different dialects, I suppose. It's made up of 3 different Sanskrit words. The first we've already covered, prana, which is life force energy. There's so many other names for it. Chi, Numa, Kai, Orenda, Modi. Prana is our life force energy. It's what you see blowing through the trees, what pushes that wind through the trees to make the trees dance. It's what we receive in terms of sunlight. It's what we receive through the food we eat, the liquids we drink, and even the content that we consume has a form of prana in that. It influences that flow of energy within us, that vital life force energy. So ayama is to extend that life force energy. Yama is it's to control and extend, essentially, to control and extend that life force energy within us. And when we begin to not only build a relationship with that life force, but to understand that with the breath and with many other modalities as well, we can influence it in the moment. It gives us a sense of control, but also empowerment, in that when we feel like we're being pulled off, when we feel like that anxious energy is rising up within us, or we feel low of energy, that we actually have the tool within us. It's at our nose tip to access different states, to influence our nervous system, to influence our mind and our emotions with the simple act of cultivating our relationship with our breath. And that's what I love, as I said, about pranayama, is that we have the ability not just to release emotions, release trauma and trapped energy from our body, but actually to move very specifically from different states and build that relationship with our subtle energy. So, for example, we have certain breathing techniques that bring us to center when we're feeling anxious. And that's a different technique that's going to bring us to center, being what we call a ventral vagal state, high social engagement state from a scientific perspective, physiological perspective. It's different than if we're in a low energy state where we're in shutdown and we want to bring ourselves back to center. So essentially, it's creating that deeper relationship with our energy, to understand that we are in control, that we do have the tools to influence that internal world, and that allows us to ultimately reach and allow that ultimate highest state of our being to be expressed, which is our bliss.
Got it. Wow. Yeah. Beautiful explanation, and really helpful, because as you pointed to, there's so many different types of breath work, different ways to work with the breath. And understanding the nuances and subtleties of difference between each modality or submodality isn't too well known, right? Especially in the West. So it's important to have a really expert source to be able to break that down. And I love the way you described it too, especially just looking at pranayama. When you prana is the life force, yama is the extension of that life force. It really makes such intuitive sense. For anyone who's kind of directly experienced and worked with the breath, because you can feel that, it's a incredible feeling and incredible intuitive knowingness, because the breath is sacred. The breath, quite literally, I think it's Sanskrit or Latin, it means spirit. And to connect with the breath is to connect with spirit, which is to connect with God. So the breath is a portal straight to the higher self. And if you can sit with the breath and connect with the breath, you are exiting the mind and coming back into the body, which is that portal to God. So really, that's where I see the breath as such a fundamental and important modality to facilitate awakening and to help you connect with the higher self. Okay, so why don't we just transition into your specific offerings, and I would love for you just to kind of share with us a bit about the different types of offerings you provide, speak to the dynamics of those I know you just came out with a new course, which is exciting. So if you could just talk to us a bit about, the different solutions you offer right now.
100%. Yep, so I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand, the land of the long white cloud. Everyone on your side of the pond probably know us for Lord of the Rings, maybe, or kiwi fruit. So in terms of in-person events here in Auckland, we have our Self-Care Sunday event, which is every Sunday. We have movement, breath and sound, which we do once a month, which is a bit of movement, either qigong or yoga asana, breath, and then sound healing. We also have club physical breathwork journeys at a local gym, which I have a very close relationship with. We have other events coming up in person, popping up here and there. But for the Awakenpedia community, I think the most relevant and pertinent offerings will be one-on-one, which we can do online through Zoom or other sort of video platforms. But the one that I really wanted to talk to today, and the one that I'm going to offer members only discount and exclusive offering to, is the 21-day breathwork challenge. Essentially, it's mostly pranayama, but we use the term breathwork because there are a few breathwork techniques we include in that challenge. And it's an online course, 21 days long, obviously, with different breathing techniques that we learn every day. On top of that, there's mindfulness and meditation, and other sort of spiritual tools that we use to tie into different themes for every week. So the first week of that challenge, we're working with a theme of intuition. The second week, we work with the theme of identity and self-love. And the final week, it all comes together with this beautiful practice. Manifestation is our focus in that last week. So a breathwork flow that we do every day is tied into that theme for each week. So the first theme being intuition has techniques of, for example, Bhastrika, heart breath, and a technique we call Vritti Pranayama, a 4-7-8 breathing technique. Every day we have a group container where we post our gratitudes, affirmations, and any other shares. We have small tasks that we do throughout the practice, throughout the 21-day challenge. And what it does is it literally transforms your life. So it gives you the tools that you need to alter your internal state, to influence your mind, unlock your purpose, and just flow with your highest form of being, which is the ultimate goal. Through those connections, we support each other. We build community, just like we're doing with Awakenpedia as well, and thrive together, grow together, heal together. So that's the main offering. And what I'd love to offer the Awakenpedia members is a 30% discount. So there's a discount code that I'll send through. I think you've got it already. And that's an exclusive offer to the Awakenpedia members. That next one launches this Sunday, New Zealand time. So this Sunday, 12 to 1 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. I think you're like 18 hours behind us. How often do we hold those? Once a month. So right now it's Wednesday. What's it? Almost 1 o'clock. Coming up. No, sorry, coming up at 1:30 on Wednesday here. So I think that makes it like 6 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah.
Your time.
Okay.
EST, something like that. We can confirm that later. But those are held once a month. So every month for the first 3 weeks. This one we delayed a little bit because every challenge we do, every 21 days, I'm trying to build on the last. We are trying to build on the last. So I'm making improvements as we move through. And that gives you lifetime access to the video content. And the only thing that changes is if you are returning, it's half price and you get access to the new group container. So that's where the magic happens. It's where we feed off each other and create the momentum of growth, of healing, and answer any questions, ride that wave together. So you your own time to repeat it. However, the magic, as I said, comes in that group container and that connection and riding that wave together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, helping you to share offering with the community and just the large world. You certainly need it. So I'm looking forward to that and to diving into it with you. One thing. Oh, and by the way, thank you for the discount to the community for the members. That's certainly appreciated. And
Of course,
so thank
bro,
you.
no worry. I just
Yeah.
saw a question. Sorry to interrupt. I just saw a question from Marty Westerland pop up. Could breathwork help my anxiety and childhood trauma? Yes, absolutely. That's really important. The trauma part that can come up. So we have trapped energy within our body. Um, Trauma is stored in our cells. Emotions are energy in motion. So when we experience a traumatic event, that doesn't go away unless we have the tools to release it. So often we have that trauma stored in our body. Um, for my modality and for Ananda, it was really important and really close to my heart to actually gain the credentials, I suppose, and have done the study to become trauma informed. So we can release that childhood trauma and any trauma that anyone experiences through the breath. It's actually one of the most potent modalities for releasing trauma, not just giving you tools to deal with that trauma in the moment, but actually physically create space and release that trauma, let new light come in. Anxiety, absolutely as well. Pranayama is one of the more gentle breathing modalities. So super, super good for anxiety. And what we're working with is our autonomic nervous system. So we're shifting our state. An anxious state is what we call a fight or flight response from our autonomic nervous system to what we call a sympathetic nervous system activation. So that's what anxiety manifests as physiologically. It's an increase in heart rate. It's a busy mind and increased blood pressure, among other things. And so to bring ourselves back, it's just in simple terms, what you want to do if you're dealing with anxiety, anyone listening to this, is extend your exhale. So you want to breathe out more than you're breathing in. We shorten our breath when we become anxious. So if you can extend that exhale out, the magic ratio is double your exhale in relation to your inhale. So if 4 seconds in, for example, 8 seconds out, count that breath, feel that breath, and you'll feel the anxiety start to subside in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to answer that question. And I love how you described that. And one thing that stuck out to me was how emotion is energy in motion. And when we have a traumatic experience, so that the energy gets stuck, it stops moving, right? We're not processing, we're not letting it go. And that's where it's not flowing, and where we build up these ego blocks that we store in the body that, if held chronically, ultimately may manifest into physical illness, i.e. cancer, tumors, build up ego.
Yep.
As one way to see it. But
100%.
So that's where, the breath is so important. But I feel and see the breath as like this magic flusher that, if you can connect to it, it just helps you to process and release anything that you're keeping and storing in your body and in your mind that shouldn't be there. That's not supposed to be there, in the sense it's not your natural state, right? So
yeah. Absolutely. Just a quick point on that. I love the way you highlighted that point about the release that's achieved through the breath. Actually, 70% of the toxins within our body are released through the breath. So if we're breathing correctly, functionally, and focusing on that exhale, deepening our breath using our diaphragm, so that's sort of functional breathing, we're releasing the toxins that's within our body. So it literally releases that from our cells. We think of sweating, urination, and excretion as the source of releasing toxins, which it is, but that's 30%. The other 70% is actually through the breath. So it's fascinating when you actually start to delve into the depths of not only the spiritual side of it and what you feel, like you said, all those universal truths that you experience when you work with the breath, but actually there's all this contemporary language in terms of the science that supports the spiritual experience that we feel in the moment as well. So that's what we try to infuse into all of the teachings with Ananda, is that scientific basis as well, that scientific perspective as well, so that sort of satisfies the logical side of our brain, sort of that left left hemisphere of our brain, which is looking for those facts and those figures and the empirical evidence, I suppose, to support the experience that we're having from a spiritual perspective.
Yeah, yeah. Another great point. And we'll have to have another chat, man, so we can dive deeper into all these things. But, just reaffirming what you're saying, how I see it too, is such an exciting time. Why it's so exciting to be alive right now in this domain and as a spiritualist, because for the first time ever, modern science is affirming what ancient mystics have been pointing to since the dawn of time.
Yeah, 100%. We're just rediscovering those universal truths, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're able to see it with science as well. The quantum science. When we look at ourselves under the microscope at the subatomic level, we disappear, physically speaking. And it just affirms Buddha's point that you are emptiness. Jesus's that says you are the kingdom of heaven, which is what dwells within you as a dimension of spaciousness, or dimension of consciousness, Christ consciousness, right?
Beautiful.
And it's really exciting to be able to experience spirituality, but also to know and start to see that it's supported by the world even now, in terms of worldly measures and whatnot. So it's a cool time to be on the journey. Let's put it that way, and to experience these truths directly. All right, man. Well, I think we're coming to a good point to let you have the final words, and I want to put you on the spot by asking you to share any insight or wisdom or guidance that you feel the world could benefit from right now. What do you want to say?
Absolutely. Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind, came into my heart, was just this recollection that we should all have and all should remind ourselves of, that all of the answers that we require, all of the energy that we need, is actually already within us. The breath is just one amazing tool to connect you with that universal truth inside you, all that light that you need to heal. Everything you need is inside you already. You don't have to reach out for external means to numb any pain that you feel. Every bit of energy that you require to heal, to grow, to thrive, to connect with purpose and unlock your highest states of being is actually within you already. And I'm really excited to work with this community, to work alongside yourself, Cam, and allow that vision, our purpose, our combined purposes to manifest into reality. So really look forward to seeing that.
Amen, brother. Absolutely. I'm excited for this too. I'm really happy you're a part of the team, and very much looking forward to how we expand this together and further the mission over the course of the journey, however it may unfold. But I know it's only blessings to come. So thanks for being here, man, and more to come soon.
Thanks for shining your light, brother. You're changing the world.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, brother. See you later.